Greetings, Patrick here. 8 Questions with, and welcome to the show. Uh, at least we're going to have a show today. It's probably the only thing I can say. But we're gonna not we're gonna have a show, but we're gonna have a panel show, which has been a while since we've done one of those. Today we'll be talking with director, husband and wife, actually filmmaking duo, Derek Barash and his wife Nita Trader. They're going to be here along with actors Jimmy Shea, Darren Bowman, and film composer Bobby Thompson might make it. He's going to do his very level-headed best. But we have a small army up here, so we're excited about that. Hey, Sarah, how are you? Yeah, so those who were here last night, waiting for with me for our guest, Tremaine Hayhoe. Yeah, so gonna take the fifth on that one. He just didn't he didn't make it. So oh well. It happens. So but anyway, back to the good stuff. The good stuff is that we got two great shows for the rest of the week. We got tonight's show, well, like I said, with the crew, uh, Derek Brash, and his film company, Cheese Film Company. I think I'm trying to figure out how to say that, Cheevies or Chevys, but that's his film company. He wears all hats during production. He's a director, he's a writer, he's a producer, scout manager, casting director. So basically, does everything. He wears the same hat along with his wife of most independent film companies. And so we're going to be talking about a lot of different films today. But probably the one we're going to talk about the most is this horror film that he did called Torture the Flesh. So we're going to be talking about that. Okay, hold on here 1 second. Oh, okay. RK, we have guests. And I'm gonna start bringing them up as they come in. Let's see. I don't want to do that. I want to go back. And I'll go here. Yeah. Ta-da! All right.
Ta-da.
You are the first to show up. We are
Yeah.
live and ready to rock and roll.
I'm a little bit early. I'm sorry.
No, don't be sorry. No, we have a rule. I generally go on 15 minutes before 8 o'clock, but the rule is if any guests show up beforehand, that's when the show starts. That way we don't make you sit back there for 10, 15 minutes because we can start talking now. So I'm very glad to meet you. You are Joe DiBartolo. I believe you played Detective Stevens in Torture the Flesh.
Yes, that's correct. I'm the lead in Torture the Flesh. I'm the main detective, and it's not the nicest role, but it was a fun role, and it's the kind of role that keeps everybody guessing. So you gotta love it.
Yeah, the synopsis of the film. The synopsis of the film says a string of grisly murders bring law enforcement to their knees as two cops try to take down the serial killer who may be one of their own, or is it? Man, that's like it's already bad enough when you're a cop and you have to face a serial killer, but it's even worse when it could be you. You could be the killer, and
my character could be the killer. I'm not saying unless you've seen the film, you know.
I did see the film, so I do know.
Okay.
I do know who the dastardly Dylan is, and yeah, it caught me by a little surprise, and I'm like, okay, all right, you know what? That so be it. You know what? Because you know what it makes it for an exciting ride.
Yeah, it had a lot of people guessing all the way through. When we had the premiere, I was walking in front of a couple of women who had just watched it, and they had no idea. They thought, well, we're going to give it away tonight or what?
No. We'll keep it underneath our hats.
Okay. Well, they had no idea who the killer was, and they thought it was somebody that uh, that no way in my mind it could have been. But you never know what people are thinking, and it was good to lead them on that way. I thought that was great. I was very happy.
I've been watching a ton of English mysteries,
Yes.
like Hercule Poirot, Inspector Morse, Inspector Lewis, Lindsay mysteries. My God, you know what? I have loved watching detective movies, and I can pretty much always get it right. Pretty much. I gotta tell you, I walked away from here and from there with like who done it because it certainly escaped my like my guess. I think I see somebody and going like that's the person, and so you go with it. And I think what's really cool about independent mysteries like Torture of the Flesh is the fact that it is an indie film. It works for you in terms of making the mystery really a mystery because whereas TV shows, this is a cheat, but this is pretty much accurate. Whenever you watch a TV mystery, like Law and Order or whatever, you already know who did it. What you do is you just sit there, wait for the credits to come by. You see the biggest name that that's what's going to be the killer, pretty much.
And sometimes those are all formulaic. They follow a pattern, and you can guess pretty easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas the English mysteries, I only guessed two, and the only reason I got those two right because they were both big names, and I'm like, okay, but otherwise that I'm just sitting there like, man, I don't have a freaking clue.
Yeah, I love
and I like movies like that.
Love all the British cop shows and everything. That since BritBox hit Prime, I've been watching everything. I love it.
God, you sort of wish it's hard. We consider Columbo like our top dog here. Like it always mentions Columbo, and I gotta tell you, I love Columbo. I grew up on Columbo. I'm old enough to remember that. Yeah, no, no,
Yeah.
I was totally perplexed by most of the English mysteries. I had no clue who did it, and then when they said the reveal, I was just stunned. I was just like, really, no way, and yet there they were, and I was just like, well, that part there, and unlike over here in America, the other part, the only thing about the British mysteries that really gets me are they don't carry guns.
Oh, it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Yes. How could they get anything done? But they do. But man, I was like, oh, yeah, that really drives me nuts.
Yeah, because that's
the
how
bad guys carry guns. The bad guys usually carry guns.
It's insanely crazy because it's like that's how it is. It is over there. They have special weapon squads and they have SWAT squads. I think it's getting more and more to where they are starting to carry more and more weapons, but there's still bobbies out there that still don't carry anything. They're expected to catch their killer and then talk them into surrendering.
Yeah.
It's like I love a good mystery, but man, I want it to I want it to be somewhat rooted in some reality, but it's fantastic. Our friend Doc Kaiju is here. He's saying hello. He said hello to Sarah. Sarah's here. And yeah, hi, how you doing, Doc? I'm glad you're here. Glad you didn't go anywhere. Yes, I have been following that. I've been following that. So I'm glad you're still with us. So how did you get your start in show business, Joe? Were you Was this something that came,
Well,
you know,
I've
go ahead.
I've been in love with films my whole life, and when I was 15, I started my own production company. Very low, low budget, Super 8, that kind of stuff, but just enough to. Uh, in my way of thinking, if you got something that you want to do and you want to create, you should do it, no matter how cheap, no matter how, you know, as long as you're creating and you're doing something with it. And my my production crew we made like over 200 movies through about like 15 years, and then I kind of stopped. I was doing some extra work in Chicago. I live in Chicago, and there's a lot of TV and movie productions in Chicago. I mean, big professional, big budget. And I started doing extra work in the 80s, and that was fun. But then, I had a family. I had to stop. I took a hiatus of 20 years, and I didn't get back into it until like 2010 after I retired from my normal job. And then got back into doing extra work. And through that, I met all of these independent filmmakers. And that was the break I needed, because with meeting the independent filmmakers, they all had scripts and roles and stuff that I could be part of. And my career as a character actor really took off. And I've made a lot of films since 2010.
I bet.
And many
I
of
bet.
them with Derek Brash and the Chivis Film Company.
That's right. Derek Brash and Nina have walked in the chat, as is Mr. Bowman.
Hello.
Welcome to everybody.
How's it going?
I'll have you guys come in and introduce yourselves. We don't do panel shows a whole lot, so we are so glad that you're here. I'll do the introductions. We have Derek Brash right here. I already have my first question for him rolled up. I've been sitting on this for over a month too. I just want you to know that I've had this one question for you for a whole month.
Awesome.
And then we have his wife, Nina Trader, who is a co-writer, producer, casting director, location scout, a whole bunch of other things. Jimmy Shea will be here. He should be here. He is an actor. Darren Bowman. Not only is he a fine actor, the lead actor in Torture the Flesh, but he also is a professional gun wrangler. So there will not be ever any accidents on your set. And then hopefully maybe we'll get Bobby Thompson to come by, and he is a film composer. And our good friend Doc Kaiju is saying hello to you. And so I'm saying hello to you, and so glad that you guys are here.
Jimmy Shea might not be able to. Oh, Jimmy Shea
ahead.
might not be able to make it on. Jimmy Shea just let you know he might not be able to make it on.
Okay. So my question to you, Mr. Brash. You directed Phil Herman's. You directed his anthology film.
I worked with them. Yes.
In that, you have a detective at a bar, and he's retired, but he's sitting at the bar. You know where I'm going, right?
I think so. I think.
Okay. I'll see if I can get his name here. Let me bring up his name.
Joe Yauk?
Huh?
Was it Joe Yauk?
It might have been. He was the guy at the bar. He was drinking, and then somebody was giving him They were harassing him. They were harassing him because he had failed to stop a young girl from being killed.
Yeah.
And so and then he gets up, and then he starts walking home. They offered he wants someone to walk him home. He says no. So he had quit the police force, because of the one girl that he couldn't save, and he's walking home. He's walking through the parking lot, and all of a sudden, then he gets jumped by all these spirits, and I guess from all the girls, and his character dies. I
Yeah.
just could not resolve myself with that. I'm going like, why the hell did he die? He was a hero.
Yeah.
He just he can't save them all. And I don't know why. I'm like, man, that doesn't seem very fair. So let me ask Derek this question when we go
Yeah, yeah.
talk.
Oh, okay. Oh,
No,
sorry.
so,
I think
yeah, no, I was gonna say, what was the thinking behind that little that segment? What I mean,
Well, I wanted
Go
to
ahead.
put like the turmoil that a police officer has. You know, they can only do so much in their confines at the police department trying to save lives. There wasn't enough backing, you know, at the police station, the police force. So his hands were tied, so he can only do so much. Even though he is a hero in most people's eyes, at the very end, we had it where a lot of those victims that didn't get saved, or the victims' families just came and just killed them because they were just angry. And that was basically it. They were just angry that their life ended, and they wanted to get revenge on the person that was trying to help them, which even made it more intense. You know, like they're killing the wrong person, they're taking it out on the person that's on the good side of the law. So
I think it's
Yeah,
also
'cause there
up
was
for
some.
interpretation too. Like it could be metaphorically that these, these victims are attacking him. It's like could be in his mind. It's kind of like a up for interpretation type of ending.
yeah,
Yeah, it was such an intense little segment, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, it's the one that stayed with me, as you can
yeah,
tell.
sure,
Here it is now. A month later, I'm still thinking about it.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
that's pretty. It's just I just want to know because a lot of times the cops are never portrayed as that. As a like that. This one girl got away. He couldn't save
yeah,
her, and his whole career he was just basically eating himself alive
yeah.
because he couldn't save her. And then I
Right.
thought, okay, well, nobody needs to help him at all. He's doing a great job by
Sure.
himself.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. 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 We kind of want to mess with people's heads.
Yeah. So I that's the one question I've been burning up with, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
get that out of the way because I thought it was a very, very it was a good movie. It was very interesting.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought Bill did a nice job. You did a nice job with your segments. I
yeah.
really enjoyed it.
No, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about all of you guys too. We're going to the film we're going to be talking about a lot is Torture the Flesh, but since we all here in the panel, we can also talk about a little bit about your backgrounds and how you got together and where the idea come from for this film. Yeah, let's get cracking.
Okay.
So I guess the real question will be is I was talking to Joe and I was asking him where he got his start at, as far as films go. So I think what I'll do is I'll bounce it down to Darren and let him introduce himself and tell us about his film journey.
Hi, I'm Darren Bowman. I'm a Gemini. My favorite color is yellow. And,
Long walks on
yeah.
the beach.
yeah, it depends. Depending on the sand, get that exfoliation. And it goes. So yeah, no, the film journey. It starts with Derek and Nina and Joe and the crew, kind of breaking the ice and getting immersed and invited in with Cheaties, and then from there, all kinds of different projects. And recently, if work and family time schedules permit, get on some sets out here in the Southern California area. I think a Pasadena project, and just kind of working and processing through it. Trying to get back on stage more so than just film. I believe film is more a director's medium, and wanting to grow more as an actor and tune the instrument and keep developing more truth. I'll progress toward that. But yeah, no, I think prior to Torture the Flesh, or TTF, as sometimes we'd call it, helped with sound on some student projects in St. Charles, Missouri, when I was living in the Midwest. I think at the time, my job had me in St. Louis, so I would drive up to the Chicago area, up northern Illinois, for shoot dates and stuff like that. So yeah, is there anything specific in that you want to know?
I was looking at your IMDb page, and I noticed that,
Oh yeah.
like Joe had mentioned that he had gotten his start early. You know, when he made 200 films of his own. Did you start young? Did you start your career young, or did you start when you got older, maybe after a family?
No, well, as far as acting, at 14, I had the blessing of being 6'4" and this same voice, but 120 pounds smaller. So I was pretty much dick and ribs and a baritone. So I would get cast as father in like the best Christmas pageant ever. At 16 was Theseus, the Duke of Athens, in A Midsummer Night's Dream. And then 18, post 9/11, aging myself. I joined. All right, look at Joe. Yeah, aging myself as a kid to these elders. I joined the U.S. Army Infantry, and 2 days before graduating infantry school, I get assigned to the Old Guard there in D.C. So it was showtime performance. It was kind of embarrassing, where you get concealer, where you got two other people shining up a buckle or a ribbon before the cameras come on, or holding umbrella for First Lady, you know, to usher her up. And then from there, intermittently through undergrad, some projects or background or help, but nothing really credited, and just kept kind of a pilot light lit. And then a few years later, migrate toward the Midwest, took some improv classes, and then from there, situational comedy. And then from there, Actors Studio for film, kind of getting the feel for that. And then started auditioning and started getting on sets and getting nods, and submitted an audition and got the call up. And then from there, you'll see pretty much all the IMDb.
I was gonna say, anywhere where you could walk and talk so your voice could be heard would be a very good thing, because you're right, you have a beautiful voice, tailor made for theater for sure, right? I mean, were you attracted to theater first before film, or has it come afterwards?
Beforehand.
Yeah.
And film is so fascinating, and you got 3 projects or 3 films there. You have one that's written, one that's shot, and then one that's edited. Could be 3 completely different perspectives right there. And it's a matter of all those magically coming together. And sometimes you get lucky, you know. So that's just my opinion. I'm not speaking as an expert on it. It's just where I feel as I'm learning the life cycle and the process.
There's no wrong answer here. I mean, whatever you say is your truth, and so it is truth. So that's how I look at it.
You'll laugh because I would get modeling gigs in the Midwest. It would either, again, be that quintessential dad, the truck driver, or the bus maintenance mechanic, you know, for these different companies for their hiring campaigns. I would be like the guy in the background, like, come drive with us. This is what we all look like when we drive behind the wheel of that semi truck, right? Wow. It's all really Ahmed, you know what I mean, or different drivers. Like, yes, put that on our hiring poster. Like the whole thing. It was really funny. Or my fictitious wife, they would pair up with me with our fictitious son playing a board game for this McKelvey Homes home builder. So when you go to think you're going to get a home built, you get the placard and you'd see me there like, yeah, this is so much fun. I love my wife and son.
But did you enjoy doing ads? I mean, was the ad work? I mean, I heard that ad work is maybe Derek can chip in on this.
Yeah.
I heard ad work is a really positive thing for actors to do, and they should always do them as possible. Not so much for the experience, like this we're gonna put this on your IMDb, but the simple fact that it helps an actor, actress maintain themselves while they are looking for, roles. I mean, it's a good source of income.
And that's for the fun of it. Right now I work like 60 hours a week. I work in the aerospace industry, in manufacturing and other arenas. I have a security clearance, done everything from air dominance, collaborative combat systems to missile defense to now, prior autonomous submarines, and now in the satellite arena out of El Segundo, California. So when I'm not in that day job, I dive into something I love. So if you're willing to do something, even for free,
do you have to get permission? Because you do have. I've never run across this before, but let me ask you: do you have to get permission from because you're high clearance, security clearance?
Yeah.
Do you have to?
Yeah, you're gonna love this. Because they typically have a kind of a boring gig, and I had to. I saw the script. I read through it for Torture the Flesh, and I was like, yeah, I should probably run it by ethics just to cover bases in the event someone that worked for someone that worked under me was like, I saw Darren. He stabbed a vagina. I know it was him. Right. So I had to pull him up. I'm like, I just wanted to clear the air. There's a script. I love entertainment. I love being a part of this craft. It's a really good project. And I just want to clear the air in the event something were to maybe get said at work, by chance. Oh, okay. I've never seen a more interested team of HR. Like wheel up. I thought I was just gonna talk to one person. They're like, yeah. Like people wiping the wall with their shoe, trying to look at the neighbors to see what's up. They were like, and they're like, and then what else happens? I'm like, I don't think I have permission to give the full script. I just want to disclose there might be some things. And the key things were during a lot of these, I'll have a mask. But toward the end, it's revealed potentially I may look a lot like the person with the mask. Well, is there any time you get romantic? Like they're trying to really pussyfoot around the topic of whether or not you see my dick or not. Am I naked? You know what I mean? And I was like, right. You mean, do you see am I naked? No, I don't have any of those scenes. None that are like
they probably want to make sure you weren't. You probably want to make sure you weren't wearing any military uniform or anything else.
Yeah, totally. They want to make sure it wasn't a porno or anything. Did I have the company name, which I won't disclose here? But you won't have any of that. They were so relieved because they couldn't come out and ask me, but they had coaching pointers for them to try and soothe it out of me to say it. I could have saved us 40 minutes by saying, no, it's not an adult film. I'm flattered you think it might have been. I don't know.
But. Well, now you haven't seen the director's cut, so.
Right, yeah. So yes, Patrick, there was a lot of exciting experiences and a lot of humor behind the scenes on this whole process.
Now that's got to be something for. I'm sure, Derek. I'm sure when that happened, I'm sure you're going okay, I don't think I've ever had that happen before, where I had to get my script cleared so one of my actors could come on and do the role. I've never heard of that. I've never heard of a script needed a security clearance. But then again, I don't know very many people that are do what you do, Darren. So what was I just want to know what was that like when he came to you, Derek, and he said, I want to do the role here. I definitely want to, but right now your script's being overlooked by HR. Um, what was what was that like? Have you ever experienced anything like that before or since?
No, it made it more interesting knowing Darren and knowing what he had to go through to make this work. I mean, he did. He was one of the leads in the film, and I get it. It was a lot of challenges, and while most people you have to promote the film, I understood he couldn't really put his name out there and share it all the time because of his job, and I totally respected that. But in the long run, he gave out a great performance. Didn't complain once. He helped out in the set. He put money toward the film, and he was just a blessing to work with. So we respected that because some people they can't do it because of their jobs. But Darren was ballsy, like I'm going to do this, and he believed in the project. But he just had to respect the job he was at as well. So, but yeah, he was I
Yeah.
think the first person that had such a high-ranking job or such a job of importance where it wasn't like, hey, Derek, I'm the stocker of Walmart. I don't think I can do this. Like not like that. So I know he had a job that he's got a big responsibility, so he had to be careful with what he was, what kind of art or what work he was doing with film. So, but,
Hmm.
Those-
So now we come to you, Derek and Nina.
Mhm.
So what came first for you two, movies or marriage?
Movies. So Derek's been making movies for since
like
1999.
99. Yeah.
We met in 2007. But I've always been in theater and like musical theater. I'm a singer, and I
She got
always
pipes.
I always was on the stage, and then met Derek, and all my theater friends were like, "You're dating a movie maker? I want to be in a movie." So it was kind of a good little fit there, bringing like two of our arts together.
Yeah. Well, I started with me. I think probably as a kid, I always say the same thing, but it kind of the blueprint for me was my mom and dad allowed me to have cable, Cinemax and HBO. Some from there, I was watching Friday the 13th, Commando, Cobra, like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Clint Eastwood, a lot of like Police Academy, all those movies. So that was kind of like right there. I knew I wanted to make films, but the film that made me want to make films was Evil Dead 2. Sam Raimi's movie, and that right there was the movie when it came out in cable in '87. I'm like, oh, I want to do something like this. I didn't know what because I was 11 or 12, and then from there, my dad got a camcorder, VHS camcorder. I would film little things with my friends, make little movies, and then I went to high school, took a film class. Then I went to Columbia, and then after graduating from Columbia, my film school was my first feature, The Icing. So I just kept pursuing. I was like, with bulldog tenacity, and I liked everything under the sun. So I was, so I did. I go back to my parents being the big, shaping like my career in a way. And then when me and Nina met, she worked on our second feature, my second feature, Murder for Pleasure. So I brought a lot of her theater friends into this really gory, messed up film that I was the producer and director. And from there, she's been very supportive, as well as all our friends and family. We had a great core of people. So it's been a fun ride, a long ride, but a fun ride.
What's it like going to a Ivy League school like Columbia and going to class? What difference, when people say, well, they went to Brown or they went to Harvard or Columbia, what's the difference between those 8 acting schools and somebody else that's going to school, say USC or UCLA? Why does there always seem to be a little bit, even though it does seem to be the same thing you learn no matter where you go, but it seems there's a little bit extra cachet for Ivy League school. Is that justified? I mean, and did you feel like you just got one hell of a training course, or?
To be honest, it kind of kills my parents. Like, I felt like I learned things at Columbia, like aesthetics and some things that I didn't know, but I really felt like the true calling of film school was my first feature, and my mom and dad like, shit, are you saying we spent all this money for you to get a bachelor's of art degree? And so not screwing Columbia College in Chicago. I just felt like after I graduated in '99, my buddy had a script. I was making some other shorts, and then my first feature was Icing, and that felt like my film school, because film school didn't teach you that you might have a location that lets you film for free, but you can only do it on a Friday night. But your lead actor can't do it on Wednesday. Your cameraman's got to babysit his kid, and you had to balance everything. It was like a juggling act. So I felt like Columbia College was my film school, and that was one of my strengths as a producer director, taking everything and balancing out and smoothing out so everything lined up, cast, crew, location, props, craft services. So I would say Icing, my first feature, really threw you in and made it work for me. So
I like you know what I would like. I like the idea of directors going to a school like like Columbia or Princeton or what have you, and then you come out and then you do a movie like The Icing or Torture of the Flesh. I mean, they're expecting you to do Christopher Nolan things, and you're sitting there going like, "No, man, I'm more of a John Carpenter type or Toby Hooper type, Keith Thomas type. Let's get it cracking." So what was you mentioned The Icing, and I noticed that The Icing had and I definitely want to hear the story about this. How did the hell what was The Icing about, and how the hell did you get Jim McMahon, Hall of Fame quarterback for the Chicago Bears, to come in and play a character, not just himself, but a character? So how did you guys do that?
Yeah, so when we were ready, we were on day one. I think it was February 28th, 2003. We were shooting our first day in the south suburbs of Illinois, and my brother, who's the producer, got a call because what happened was someone's like, "Hey, somebody knew someone that worked at Jim McMahon's restaurant, dropped off the script. We were going to have, I think it was Katie Cleary, who's in the movie, who's a model and actress, and somehow we wanted to drop it off for Jim McMahon. So we dropped it off, or someone dropped it off the script somehow, and months went by, and then we're filming the first day. Jim McMahon called my brother, said, "Hey, whatever." He said, "I'm Jim McMahon. I'd like to talk to you. I saw that you're interested in me being in the movie." So we were very excited to hear that. So we scheduled a date to meet with them while filming was happening. We had months of shooting. So me and my producer, my brother could be there. Me and my other producer, Mark Sertain, went to meet Jim McMahon at his restaurant. So it was funny thing was the host, we came there and said, "Oh, we're here to see Jim McMahon." I felt so important. So as we're walking up, Jim McMahon was having a business meeting or dinner with some people. He goes, "Oh, you guys have to leave. I have some film people. We're having a meeting." So I felt very empowered. So we sat down and we just had this meeting with Jim McMahon. And I used to follow sports, and the Bears are popular. When the Bears won the Super Bowl, I was big in the Bears. And then Jim's like, "Tell me about the film." I said, "Mr. McMahon, thank you for being here. It's a big honor to have you a part of this." And I go, "So here's a couple things. Either you can play yourself, or the punky QB known as McMahon, or third, a character of yourself, or maybe a hitman." He goes, "Ooh, I like the hitman." So we didn't have anything written for Jim McMahon because we didn't know he's going to be in it. We had the script written. So Jim goes, "I like to play the hitman." So right away, we, my friend later on, the writer, wrote something real quick, wrote a couple scenes, and then Jim McMahon goes, "A couple things, Derek. Is it okay if I can wear my shades?" I'm like, "Jim, you can do whatever you want." So he bought his dinner, wore shades. One day of rehearsal, one day filming, and he was easy to film with. No drama, no headaches, no "Oh, I gotta get out of here. What kind of food do you have?" He was like a sweetheart, to be honest. He was great. It was great. So
we were just talking about him before I looked this up. I was talking about him. The movie I tossed up when you guys were talking was when you mentioned Cinemax. I actually found a Cinemax movie.
Oh, nice.
One of those, back in the day when they called it Skinemax. I actually found my very first. Yeah, I actually found my very first one. I have never seen it out. I've never seen those out in the wild at all. And also, it was like back when I was watching a Cinemax, I'm like, "Oh, God."
That's funny. That's funny.
My dog was barking, so I had to pick her up.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. We're very much animal friendly here.
Nice.
She wanted attention. So
So you got Jim McMahon on there. That must have been just such a tremendous boost to you. I wouldn't say ego, but I definitely,
Yeah.
am confident that you're going like, okay, I learned a lot from going on here by pushing forward. So I'm going to go up there and take this a step further with Darren and Joe. Is what has been a time where you've felt like you've done something to increase your confidence or overcome an obstacle, working on a film that you were pretty proud of yourself of?
Well, in my case, since I've been doing this for 5 decades and really didn't have to worry about lines or production values or anything like that until I really got into the features, the independent film features. And when you have lines and the camera is 3 inches from your face and it doesn't affect you, and everybody else is going, God, how can you do that? The camera is right there, right in front of you. I'm like, it was just a natural thing from after all of the years of doing it myself and working as an extra, which I think working as an extra, as much of a pain as it is, it's a good learning experience and people should do it. You learn the hierarchy of filmdom. You learn everything really, but they do treat you pretty poorly. But after all the experience, it becomes second nature to you. At least to me, it did, and that's when I realized I can do this. I can handle the cameras and not shy away from anything. Unfortunately, now I'm at the point where I can't even memorize lines anymore. So I've got that issue, but pretty much retiring out of the acting positions because can't handle the long drives and I can't handle the monologues. But that's when I knew I was doing okay, is when I knew my lines and I knew how to react, and the camera and the giant crews didn't faze me. The bright lights, none of that fazed me. I knew this was good.
You know what? I mean, you have nothing. I mean, I'm with you about the extra. 2 things I've learned from doing this show. 2 things that I always think that are actually 3 things that are really powerful. And when I get asked these questions too, like off camera, someone will sit there and say, like, how should I, and it's weird because I'm not an actor in the slightest. I just talk to people like what we're doing now, but someone will come up to me and say, so how do I get into the movies? I was like, how the hell do I know? But now I can actually sit there and say, okay, there's 3 things that I would consider. 1, go and work at a community theater, volunteer at a community theater. 2, do the extra work. If you're in a large enough city like Chicago, where you could, like Dick Wolf's there, and you could do the background on any one of his series, do something like that. Or 3, if you're in Los Angeles, in the area like Darren is, you can go ahead and I guess, do the same thing, work as an extra on a TV show. There's a lot of them down there, and that's, because it's like, there's no magic bullet, unless you're a Nepo baby, that's probably the only thing I could think of. But unless that happens, it's really hard work.
Yeah.
And Joe, your body of work is super impressive, my man. I mean, over 120 credits. That's 120 times that a director went to sleep a little bit easier, knowing that you were there on his set.
Or had nightmares.
Maybe nightmares, but probably relief. Because I'm sure Derek can back this up, that when you're working independent film, what's the one thing that's hard? What's the one thing you try to because you could, because I noticed that you and Nina both do casting directing, so you know about trying to get reliable people to do your projects, and that can be a bit of a chore, can't it?
Yeah, it could be. Over time, you have the people you work with, like Joe, who's been like in every one of our movies. Sometimes you work with someone, and like Joey, we've been like working the longest with for a while since like 2017. You work with the same person, and you know how great they are, how reliable they promote the project. They believe in the project. They're passionate. So a lot of the same actors you work with. And then we met Darren, who's been great as well. And Darren's worked on a couple projects. And then you sometimes work with the same people, especially if the role is right for them. And then you kind of add new people. And then after a while, there's some that maybe like, you know what, they're very difficult. They never responded back. And then you kind of know there's those few that, you know, it's too much work. If they're passionate about it, they'll be looking at the threads, answering emails, contacting you. Hey, I'm ready to start. What do I need? So we've gained some new actors and crew that have that same passion, you know. But there's a few that you just, you know what, it's, you know, it's not you, it's them. They just don't have that drive, or they're not making the effort of just being professional about it, you know.
And one of the hardest things about putting the production together is scheduling. Getting everybody's schedule to mesh on the day that, you know, you can get the location, say, or it's one of the hardest things, and it makes it more difficult when you've got someone who's not responding, who's doesn't have availability, who doesn't have the same drive that you do. You know, it just adds it throws a wrench in things when you know, you have that level of difficulty to begin with, and then you've got, you know, people that are not making it any easier. So you know, when you find somebody,
like Derek and Nina could do a master class on project management, where your normal PMP professionals will tell you and teach you about plan A and plan B, but they execute best at plan C, and that's chaos. And they get through it and grind it through. I firsthand witness, and I see a lot of different project management professionals outside of film. I will say the human element, they navigate better than a lot of people in important roles that I know. So you guys have a consultant firm in the brewing on the side where you have real life circumstances. And I'll caveat on your previous to Joe. He's an award-winning actor, specifically in this project, and firsthand witness. And I was one of the lucky actors to be in scenes with him. There's an element where you go from just making sure you hit the marks right, the blocking and the lines, to an experienced actor like him pulling you away from that and bringing you truthfully into a scene where you're becoming part of that scene versus performing. And I'd like to give that compliment to Chef DiBartolo. Just let him cook. Let him cook.
Thank you. Yeah, well, you know, part of that is working off each other, and you may not have had a lot of experience, but I want to say you grabbed onto that role and made it your own, and you were fantastic. You really were.
Yeah.
And you know, you were deserving of an award, an acting award there yourself. So
yeah,
but I
my
enjoyed,
award was working with y'all. That's my award.
I like it.
It's good. It's good to work off of somebody in a scene that knows what they're doing. And I thought our scenes together were some of the strongest scenes. I also really enjoyed working with Lynn Lowry. She played my wife in this film. Yeah. And I wish we had a few more scenes together, because the 3 or 4 scenes that we had are tremendous. I mean, they're flawless. We worked off of each other so perfectly. It was great.
Hey, Patrick, on the scene where I'm running up to the door and I got to get into the house to see my massacred family, and Detective is there at the steps.
Right.
You don't see all of it, but we had a massive live audience like the whole
yeah.
Yeah, the
neighborhood
whole
and,
neighborhood
and
was
adjacent
like,
neighborhoods.
what's going on?
We had a massive live audience, and I was like, "Oh, this is fun! This is fun!"
Yes.
Because I got to like
Yeah.
run up there,
Yeah.
and get emotional, and yell back and forth with them. And like, I've never seen 100+ people go, all right, shh,
Oh, that's
wait,
so nice.
and they wait for Derek because he's trying to, him and the DP making sure they got the shot and then hit cut, and to hear like a loud
Yeah.
eruption of applause. That was pretty powerful. It was like theater and
Fun.
film at the same time.
Yeah, that makes it all worth it, doesn't it? That's
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
Yeah, that was a great way, like a crime scene. It looks so realistic, and yeah, it's like when you watch like Channel 2 News and you see people do not cross lines up the tape, and then you see people looking around, and that's what it was. The neighbors are watching this, and Darren going up to Joe, and he's saying, "Joe, I need to see my family." It was a great scene. It was, and the town of Elburn we lived in, everyone like came together and made it work. With the film and all the locations. A lot of support.
Now,
a lot of support.
is this your hometown that you're filming in, Derek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the movies I'm doing now, and then Torture, most of the suburb I live is Elburn and surrounding suburbs. Most of the places let us film for free. We're filming at a high school next week in our neighborhood, our town, for free for another feature. It's just amazing the support the Burbs have out here. It's great. Like I've been very fortunate. Yeah.
I gotta say that in Torture of the Flesh, I don't know how he manages to do it, but he gets the best locations. We worked in a real police department, in a butcher shop, in a gun shop, assorted bars, a hot dog stand, a strip club, and a warehouse. I mean,
Yeah.
this makes production value look so great.
A real murder shack.
locations really do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
What did
Yeah.
you say? A real what?
Murder Shack.
A real murder shack. A shack where murders occurred.
Yeah.
It was real. Walk
Yeah.
in like, a
Yeah.
real creepy basement.
Now,
Oh,
is it, when you do that, when you scout locations, I guess it's another one of those things where you have to show the script, like if you're going to try to shoot in a school, they probably wouldn't let you shoot in the school with a mature script Torture of the Flesh. That was filmed in an elementary school. I don't know if parents will really get behind that. So
Right.
what kind of obstacles do you face as location managers in order to secure your shooting area? What are some of the things, and how do you overcome letting people, how do you get people to say, okay, yeah, come on in, especially a real police station, a working police station? How did you manage to pull that off?
So we get lucky. A lot of the times you just kind of present yourself professionally. They don't even ask for the script. I kind of tell them, I've been doing this for a while. I'm a resident of Elburn. I live close by, blah, blah. I tell them what's going on in the scene, how many cast and crew. And lots of times they don't ask for that or insurance. A couple times they'll ask for money, which we'll do if we really want the location. The police station, one of the actors in Torture Flesh is Michael Hullop. He's an ex-police chief, so he knew the chief there. So we were able to get to film for Torture Flesh there and a couple other films. So we got lucky with that one with having help with Michael Hullop. But many times, yeah, we get it for free, or they'll ask for the script, or sometimes they'll say no some places, but we've been very lucky.
Sometimes we'll just send them like the scene
Yeah.
that we need shot there.
Yeah.
It's kind of varies.
So we're filming at
I'm surprised that they even consider it, just hearing the title.
Yeah, I know.
Torture of the
Yeah.
Flesh has turned off
It's
a lot
a
of
working
people.
title.
Yeah.
Do you operate underneath a different working title so people don't get turned off by that? I mean, instead of
No.
Torture of the Flesh,
No.
it's
Didn't.
No. Like right now, we're doing this kids movie that I'm co-directing with the writer, and he's directing it too. We were both directing. I'm shooting it, and we're filming at a school. And Nina talked to a girl that she did theater here in town, and they're cool with it. I think we sent them I don't know if we sent them the scenes, but they knew it was a kids movie. I think that they didn't need to read the script because there's nothing vulgar. I mean, it's PG.
We usually just tell them like the plot line of the movie.
Yeah.
And then, we start with the least amount of information, and then, if they ask for more, then
Yeah. Yeah. So we've been lucky with that. Yeah. So.
that is interesting. And Darren, I noticed that not only you the lead actor here, but I mentioned that you're also a gun wrangler. So how did you acquire that skill? As far as the armor goes, is that something because of your military background and your comfortability with them?
I mean, that's a easy something. Yeah, military. Prior to that, just growing up with them, I mean, was raised with a lot of firearms. Won my first pistol competition at 15. Like, if my family wasn't in manufacturing, they were cops. Makes sense. So it was just kind of always every gun's loaded, even a toy gun, even a super soaker, every
Right.
weapon loaded, fundamentals, safety, firearm safety is paramount. There were no real firearms, but they are to be treated as real. These were actual certified prop guns, and the blasting caps and the munitions that go in them can cause significant harm. They're not to be messed around with. So as long as you have one delegate that has got the competence, I'm not clear on the licensing requirements, but they're to be treated as firearms. I called the local sheriff's department. They told me to them that classification is no different than a toy. So even with their lax standards, I was just supposed to call before and after, so that way units out in the area would know. They hear popping off and they get calls.
Right.
Just communication was a key element, and permission from when at the point of where we were using them. It might have been different the closer we get in to inner city or near certain venues. But no, it just kind of by default, and I took it on, and we were safe. They get loud too. They're actually two of the prop guns, I will bet, unless we can get a decibel measurement, are louder than some of my real guns. Like, they are loud, like they are packed. These rounds are packed, mainly because they generate such a dramatic flame too. You couldn't get any more Hollywood with a gun, because some real guns,
They
they're kind of
feel good too when you pull the trigger. It feels
They got
great.
weight to them. Yeah, they got weight to them. The hammer action, everything. They discharge the casing more dramatic than a real gun. Like they like rainbow out, ding, 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 like the shells. So
Right.
it's good. It's good if you're creating something, you want that gravitas to it. I forgot the brand of them. I think they're up there at yours, right, Derek?
What, Darren?
The rounds, the prop guns.
We still have them.
Yeah. I forgot what brand they were. If we wanted to give like a plug.
Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Now,
No
you guys-
worries. No worries. Totally legitimate. I got them out of a broker from like South Carolina, right? They overnight mailed. At the time I was in Northern Alabama. So I get guns to your doorstep. Like, it was legit. And then I would just drive up to Chicago to Illinois. So I'm kind of a bootlegger too, I guess, if you really think about it.
I didn't hear that. I didn't hear that.
Nah.
Right.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about flesh, torture of the flesh. Where the idea come from, Derek? I mean, to come up with that kind of idea. The title itself leans toward, like you said, torture is just the start, and it's like it's leaning toward. It reads like a mystery, but it's leaning toward, and I'm just saying how I saw it. It seems to be like ultraviolet, torture porn. But so, what is the difference between that and why is this movie not that? It's more of a whodunit. Where did the idea come from, and how did you write it?
So beginning stages, well, the funny thing what happened was the reason this movie came to life, we had Icing 2 we were going to make. Joe DiBartolo was in it. It was a cool script. And the Icing 2 was it went from like being an R-rated, and the writer wanted it to clean it up, which I didn't agree with. But anyways, the lead actor for the Icing, Tony Marino, the day of the meeting, the night before, we're gonna have a meeting and talk about the film with some of the cast. He said, "Hey man, I don't like the script. I just can't do this. Just cast someone else." And I'm right then and there, I'm like, you know what? I can't cast someone else. It's not going to work. It's just too hard to do. And it was kind of a blessing in disguise because then this guy I was working with, I used to work with Tony Cooney. We said, let's write a new script. So we came up with an idea. Just like it starts off with a murder. I can't remember if I was watching the movie, but we just came up with an idea. He helped write some of it, and then I took on and I just wrote the rest of it. And I wanted to make something gory because I like the shock. I like to demonstrate the makeup effects, shock people. I like the torture stuff. I really do. But then I said, let's make the story strong, good twists. Because for me, I can watch a torture porn movie and be happy with it. This one, I wanted like the grisly effects, but then I wanted a great cast, great story. They're like, oh God. So people can't just say, oh, just gory. No, great acting, great cinematography, great direction, production. So we added that all into the mix and very excited about it. And then I was the one that thought of the title. I always throw titles out and then ask the cast and crew, like a few people, like, what's your favorite title? So Torture the Flesh came up, and then we just thought of a tagline. And I'm really big on having the tagline and the title kind of grab you. So, but I did want to shock people with the gore and the grisly effects. I did want that in the content. That was very important, you know. And our first DP, the director of photography, was like, well, you know, I don't think it needs to be this gory. You're not going to be able to pull it off. Why don't you allude to it? I'm like, I'm not making Hitchcock film, which I love Hitchcock. I want to show it. I'm paying a makeup artist to make these effects. It's written in the script. I'm not going to cut away and leave it in the editing room floor. So I just stuck with my guns, and then we got a new DP. John Wesley Norton was amazing, who also edited the film, and he was down with having the gore in there. I told him, when you edit this, keep the gore in there. Don't cut away to make it mysterious. Ooh, you know, I didn't want like off camera screams. I wanted to show it, you know. So yeah, and I'm thoroughly happy about that.
Is that a risk though to fans? Like, I know it's like there's one filmmaker I know and I've talked about before who's very well known. Now I can handle it easy, you know, because I know who he is. But back in the day, it was like watching Todd Sheets work, and Todd Sheets is like, he's super graphic. I mean, he's like, yikes, and he's torture porn. I mean, he makes no bones about it. As far as that goes, Nina, how did you feel about a story like that, where, you know, we see yet again women getting butchered and chopped up and shot up, and how is it? Do you feel like the same way? Like, okay, as long as it has a good story, I'm okay with that. Or as a woman, do you sometimes go to your husband and sit there and say, so can she keep one of her fingers instead of having them all chopped off? Can we let her can we let her have one at least? Or are you like, yeah, all right, where's the blood at?
Well, I do understand that there's, you know, the market is, you know, for murder and you know, the whole point of it is, you know, gratuitous. But, you know, sometimes I'm like, hey, can we think of something other than stabbing them in the vagina? Like, you know, I'll try to like challenge him a little bit. Like, hey, so you've put a bag over this girl's head. The last, like, you know, 3 movies, like, let's think of a different kill. You know, I try to like just expand his murder scenes a little bit more than you know, what your typical, you know, female kill.
So what you're
is.
saying is you're all for the gore. You just want different.
Yeah, I just wanted to mix it up.
I want him to, like, you know, just make sure he's not like doing the same kills all the time, you know.
Yeah, right.
Get a little creative with it. But it's all, you know,
right.
it's a movie. It's, you know, he doesn't feel that way about women. Like he's the nicest guy.
Not yet at least, you know.
What about Joe and Darren? Are really okay? We suggest for next kill, Derek. We suggest death by cheetah. That's right. That's right, huh?
It's a nice pussy.
Yes, he's a very nice pussy. He's 14 years old. He's 14 years old, and he has 8 mouse kills to his credit.
Oh,
He knows how to take care of business.
Serial killer.
Um, so as far as Joe and Darren, did you have problems playing your roles in this? Knowing without giving too much out there, but Darren, did you have a hard time with your character? Being who he was, or could be, or suspected of being. Did do you have trouble at all getting up for a role like this? How do you prepare if someone comes up there and says, "Yeah, we want you to be you're going to be exposed to a lot of violence in this movie"? Is it one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm just playing around. It's just a play thing.
No. And technically, right out the gates, solid 58 to 60 pages worth of dialogue between multiple characters. I played multiple characters, hence my intro. And I'm a Gemini, and my favorite color is yellow. Like I'm closing the loop. Multiple, because being Daniel, that was a dad that was very torn. I am a dad. I do have kids, daughters and a son, and a wife and an ex-wife. And I got a lot up in the toolbox that I'm learning to access even more so. But to Derek's credit earlier, when he said, go to film school, learn, and then when you make a project, there's things that you just don't learn in school and you learn by doing. Getting in the saddle between the two different characters, I really did not think I was gonna naturally kill so well.
Mm.
The way I hold
That's the
my
truth.
lines, the way I have experience. My late father, when you dress out an elk, like there's a certain way you hold the knife. There's a certain way you penetrate and de-skin or get the innards out. You avoid stabbing certain items, but there's just a certain, I don't know, velocity to how you do it. So just in the way, scooping certain insides out and holding up and being there in the moment in the room, masked up, hoodie, the whole thing, was completely different character than being a dad or a husband, and going through it or trying to show emotion. Yeah. So I don't know if that thoroughly answers your question. But
Yeah. So it's how do you let go of a character like that? And Joe, I'll put that one out to you as well. But how do you, if you play a villain or suspected villain in a movie, where or you are required to be the bad guy? What's it like for when you're in there, like after, like if you do a murder scene in one of your films, or like you're the killer and you kill somebody on screen, like most of the time, like I found out that I found this out. I used to ask some of the people I talked to. I said, because they said, my parents went and saw the movie. Well, what were your parents more upset about? Were they more upset that maybe like if it was an actress who was topless? And they said no, believe it or not, that's not even close. Because you think, wow, you see your kid, running across the stage and they're naked, and you think, yeah, that would probably upset a ton of parents. It's always the kill scenes every time. Watching somebody kill their kid on screen, it really blows them away. It's like it's shocking to them, even though they know it's just it's make believe, and their kid sitting right next to them watching the same thing, but it's still powerful to see. How do you turn that off, or during?
In the case of Torture of the Flesh, you got to realize it is so well written that there's a lot more to my character than just the obvious. I mean, there's a lot of range to my character. He's not always menacing, although he can go from quiet and calm to exploding on the screen within a split second, which I love doing. And if you watch the film, you see it. I have 3 or 4 great explosion scenes where I just yell out of nowhere. It comes out, and I'm happy with all of them. But the writing is so good that it's not just, me worried about when I do explode or how evil I am in a certain scene, because there's more to my character. There's a lot more to my character. And if I'm playing it right, you'll realize that as the film goes on, that there's more to me. So, yeah, I have no problem having to have evil in my character. I love it, actually. It makes it much more interesting to play.
Right. Everybody says playing the bad guy is everybody wants to play the bad guy because they have the most interesting roles. But
Yeah.
I just feel like sometimes, like that's probably the case, but it's just like, like you said, okay, this scene we're gonna have you stab somebody in the vagina. I even as a hardcore actor, I've been doing it for 20 years. That's still gonna make me stop. I'm gonna stop in my tracks when I think about, like, well, excuse me, what did you want me to do? Because it's such you don't get that kind of scene, that that kind of emotion that brought up, because that would, and here's the girl, going to be screaming her head off, and that's just got to get into, even as an actor.
The
that's
title
gotta
of the film is Torture of the Flesh, man. What do you want?
To that, I learned a lot about myself on first time precision hits with an audience, because you couldn't mess up that stab because it would mess up the prosthetic. So I had a dead pussy hit. I had a perfect face baseball hit. I had a one shot. We only had one photo on the fridge where I reach up and grab it and crumple it. One shot. So I had like 3+ one take. Like, you have one take to get this shot. And yeah, I feel, you know what, Joe, I feel good about that. If there was like a one take iconic device or award out there, three times saved the scene.
Yeah.
And Darren had no problem doing vagina stabs. Like, not at all. He was totally
We
fine.
didn't want to make that the modus operandi. After the first 2 had it, I was getting worried.
I know. I was like, can we pick something else, please?
Toenails, cutting off
Can
fingers.
we cut a leg off, please?
Yeah.
Come on.
That's what I mean. Cut off. Can you at least the girl at least one finger? Cut them all off. I don't care.
Right.
Just leave them one.
Like,
Take
throw
little
her a
tin
bone.
snips. The nipple cut off. Did anybody see that?
But again, you only did one, so
Right.
I mean, she has 2, so.
Now I noticed that you guys co-write your scripts together. So what's it like? How do you guys do that? How do you guys get together? Do you guys write together, like side, facing each other, or do you guys write? You write, 20 pages and give it to Nina. Nina, do you write 20 pages and give it to Derek? I mean, how does that work?
We
as far as the writing goes.
So like, say for example, if we're doing a film or something for Phil Herman, we'll like think of an idea, like either Nina or me. Say if I think of an idea, I'll start writing stuff, and then Nina will look at it and she'll continue, and because she's the brains of the operation, she'll make the dialogue more punching, solid. So we go back and forth, and we'll write, and then I'll write something, and then she'll go back and proofread, and then she'll add more to that. We just kind of go back and forth.
Yeah, Derek usually like starts with the ideas. Like he's the one that's got like all the crazy grandiose ideas, like with the kills and stuff, and so he'll like start it, and then I'll have him like kind of get to a point where he's like, okay, I'm at like a stopping point now, and then I'll go through it and kind of wordsmith it, kind of finesse it a little bit, throw out ideas of like, well, I know you had this, but what if they did this instead, or this is what I'm picturing here, and we kind of just go back and forth that way. And
I just write. I don't like concern myself too much. Like I think I was taught in the screenwriting class. Don't worry about the budget. Just kind of write, get it out of your system. Write, and then you can go back. I'm like, all right, I can't have a plane crashing to a wall.
Right.
Take that out. But you kind of write it, and then
Right, as if you have no budget.
yeah, it's like diarrhea. Just get it out there, and then we kind of go back and we're like right now we're writing a sequel to Murder for Pleasure, which we want to do next year. So we're already writing a script. We have a great idea. We started going back and forth. Hopefully by the end of this summer we'll be done writing it. And then some people have talked about Torture the Flesh too, which that's not off the plate, but it's like I have so many projects, but who knows? But right now I am writing for our next horror feature, Murder for Pleasure 2, and we start writing that. We have like a little notes app on our phone, and she's at
Just
home.
like trade ideas.
Yeah, we trade
back
ideas
forth.
and everything. So, yeah.
Now, I know that, we mentioned budget, and of course that's one of the curses of independent filmmaking. But it seems like you guys really don't seem to. I mean, I'm sure everybody has that problem, but you seem to overcome it quite easily. Is that because of the connection you have with your town that enables you to save, like tons of money on location shooting? I mean, you don't have to worry about that. And you seem to have a really core group of actors real close to you.
Yeah,
You don't have to fly in like you're cast in from like.
Well,
Go ahead.
we're lucky. Sometimes we don't meet our goals for some of our films, like the new clown movie you're doing, Torture Flesh. A lot of people have worked for free, even no gas money, just as long as they're fed. We've had people that are so passionate, they see that what we can do and get stuff done, that they're willing to work for free. Because if we have a cast of 40 and 50 people, a 15-day shoot, and we had to pay gas for everyone, we couldn't do it. So people understand. And we always let them know up front we can't do it. We might be able to throw some gas money, but they will get fed. It will get done. They'll get physical media. We go to conventions. So we go all out. And I think people see that lots of times filmmakers, they make a movie, they're kind of quiet. They don't do conventions. They do this. And like, where's my work at? I can't get all the director. He doesn't update me. I think they see all these things that we do. Granted, it's out of our control. We can't get the money. They're willing to work for free. So we're very
And
fortunate.
also, like we've been doing it for so long that we have a lot of resources.
Yeah.
We have a ton, like our basement is just filled with like props and equipment and costumes and all kinds of stuff. So we try to do as much as we can with what we have. If we have to spend money on, say, a location or somebody's wardrobe, or we try to do everything we can for free first. And we both have full-time jobs. Derek also has a part-time job. He delivers pizza, and so he kind of tries to supplement some of the costs that come with this, with his pizza job. And I mean, he's just a beast. Like he doesn't sleep. He's tireless. So if he wants to make a movie, he's gonna make it regardless of a budget restraint. He's gonna figure out a way to make it work.
Well,
I like the movies that you made so far. I was looking at your list as well, and one guy I caught my eye right away. Before I talk about him, but I definitely want to talk about how you guys all met Phil Herman. We got to talk about Phil Herman here. It would be
Yeah.
well, you're going to have to answer that, Derek, because I've never actually met him.
What's up, Bobby?
Yeah.
What's going on, guys? How are you?
What's up? Good,
Hey,
good.
Bobby.
Yeah,
Hey, Bobby.
Phil Herman. I met him. It was online. He had a distribution company. They were looking to distribute some films. I think Avail Films, and from there we were working. I don't think it happened, or it did happen for a short time. And so I met Phil, and then from Phil, I started following, became friends, and then we started doing all these anthologies where he said, "Hey, Derek, I'm doing this anthology. You can direct a film. We're looking for people to direct films. So me and Nina would write shorts, make it, edit it, and give it to them." So we work with them all the time. They're on a modest budget, very little budget, and he's so loyal. Most of the people now I work with, I've been working for free, because sometimes Phil might get, for the campaign, might get so much money, and I might get $600. each film I get something out. So that 600 goes to just maybe gas, food, stuff like that. It's no daily rate. We can't pay for an editing, can't pay for composing, we can't pay for all this effects. So now most of the people are doing it for free, and we make stuff on a budget. You have to be creative. So Phil's been great with that, and he gets stuff done, even though a lot of people are willing to work with me and Phil because we see that he's getting stuff out there. He's getting streaming like Jacker 3, Unearth, all the stuff. So that's how I met Phil. We started talking. We built this relationship. I met him for the first time at Gross Fest, and Phil is one of those guys that will promote something even if he's not involved. And lots of people will work with him. And a lot of the projects now are, I'm like, hey guys, I'm doing another Phil Herman project. Like we're doing a 1-day shoot with Joe for Survive the End. I got my buddy who's gonna edit and score it, and they're gonna work for free because they want to do it. And I tell them, hey, you're not getting paid, but it's going somewhere. Sometimes it's worth it. And Phil gets stuff done, and I'm glad to be working with him. He's a great guy.
Let me go to the chat real quick because we got some folks coming in. Dee's Basement of Horrors, Torture of the Flesh. Let's see. I think he says Torture of the Flesh is fire. Then he says Torture of the Flesh 3. Skip part 2 and go straight to zombie slasher for Torture of the Flesh. Then he's also mentioning Derek has a talented cast, and he amazes me with what he can do on a small budget. Very impressive, and his films have amazing production value. Yes, right.
Thank you.
Our good friend Hobbs Horror is here. Hello, folks. Hobbs here, a professional horror enthusiast here, and he's not kidding. The guy, he's forgotten more horror than I've learned. And he says he has a question for you. He says, had a few questions from the Community Gazette, aka Hobbs. I noticed this motion picture completed around the greatest holiday of the year, Halloween. Any special meaning behind that, or just a spooky coincidence?
Oh, for Torture the Flesh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we so the goal was to premiere it. I wanted to premiere it late summer. So like August or spring. But it was very tough because we had so much to do with John editing and Bobby doing the sound design and score. And we got to the point like, okay, we're not going to rush this. Maybe let's try for October. So we got to a point where John and Bobby, like, okay, we weren't going to make the deadline for the late summer, but we were going to have it ready for October. So when we're looking at dates, October 30th was one of the dates that it worked out. So we picked that, and which is kind of, a horror film, and Halloween, which worked out. Granted, I wanted to do more of the summer because I feel like concerts and movies like the warm weather, but we actually had good weather October 30th, so that's how it kind of fell on October 30th. I didn't want to go into November, December because I felt like people are not going to go to a premiere when it's cold. Their car breaks down, they got defrost the car, bundle up, and that's why I'm always trying to get our premieres done so we can have them in the summer. But it did fall on October 30th, and I was pleasantly pleased with the post production, and because if we would have rushed it, it would have been a disservice to the cast and crew, to Bobby, John. So let's just take our time, and it's going to take another 6 weeks. It's
like we worked hard enough. We can wait a little bit longer to premiere it.
Hobbs has another question, then I have one for you as well. It says, any early motion picture influences for Torture of the Flesh? Anything you pattern the movie after?
You know what? I'm a big fan. So one of my favorite directors is De Palma. His violence against women, and that's like kind of like a motif in a lot of his movies. I love Argento. I love Fulci. I love the colors that De Palma does and Argento does. I love the look of colors. I've done that in a lot of my films, like where it's just more aesthetic. It's not realistic, where it's like greens and blues and you're backlit with purple. I like that a lot. And then Fulci with the graphic gore. So a lot of that influences are in there for me, or a little bit is in there. Even though I wasn't a DP, but when I DP other stuff, I kind of like put color in there. But yeah, I do like. Those are some of my favorite directors.
Do you have like an inspiration for the poster too? Wasn't there?
Oh
Mutilation?
no, that was for Mutilation
Oh,
Massacre.
sorry.
But the poster that we have, the one that our drawing a blank, Ames Overton,
Mhm.
Ames Overton, he created a poster that had a great '80s feel. Then now we got distribution, so people can watch it on Tubi. So it is on Tubi and Roku. Torture of Flesh. Um,
Yes.
so we had new artwork made by the distributor, so that's their artwork. They have the right to do that, and that artwork looks killer. It's got Joe and Darren on the cover. It's the new artwork is great for Torture of Flesh. It's doing really good on Tubi, and I just talked to my distributors, and just he said make sure just keep pushing the movie and everything. So yeah,
Right.
so
That's where I watched it at today. I watched it today, and then also hit the thumbs up. It's like,
yeah,
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 all right,
yeah,
this is gory as hell, but you know what? My
yeah.
thumb goes up for that.
No, thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
and before I get to you, Bobby, let me ask. Let me just get asked one more question of Derek. I've always said this, but let me know what you think. Are anthology films the hardest films to do, in your opinion? Because they seem
No,
so incredibly difficult to do, and it's so rare that you ever see an anthology film sparkle from start to finish. There's always that
They're
one or
different.
two that just struggle.
they are. I think since I'm only taking the short and I'm taking like a 15-20 minute short and giving it to like my editor, and then the editor, then we give it to Phil, and Phil takes care of all the promoting. We do too. That's a lot easier than with Torture the Flesh or the clown movie I'm doing now. But
I
yeah,
think like the work is maybe easier in terms of like you're making short films, but it's more difficult to make it cohesive and have it,
Yes.
Yeah.
flow and have the wraparound really kind of like button up everything together. I think
because
there's different
each
aspects.
director might have a certain body of experience and a certain way of production value, and I like, so for me, I'm a very easy critic, but so I like bad movies, and I love bad movies. If a movie's bad but entertains you, then it's successful. But if a movie's so bad it bores you, then it fails. I always make fun of my friends that I said some of my filmmaking friends are snobs that they don't get the appeal of bad movies. I feel like as a filmmaker, as any in your industry, an editor, composer, DP, I think you have to embrace bad movies. I think it's part of being in that industry. Watching The Room, some of the Troma films, it's a great experience. Granted, no,
Yeah,
The Room is not better than Rocky, but The Room was entertaining. So
you mentioned he says you love bad movies, and that's ironic you say that because I was going to ask you what was it like to work with Joe Wincoop, because that guy makes some
I
really interesting movies.
I love Joel Wincoop. I love him. It's funny because I knew Joel's work from when I was a kid growing up, and I was like looking for movies. I remember watching Creep and Truth or Dare and seeing the stuff he's worked with Tim Ritter, and I loved his work. And then I forgot mentioning, now working with Phil, I indirectly worked with Joel on some projects, some of their early anthologies, and I actually Joel just purchased Torture the Flesh a couple of days. We just mailed it out today, actually. And not to get sad, but like we had a traumatic event in our lives. Joel Wincoop reached out to me, and I met Joel for the first time at a convention last year. So I have a nice bond with Joel, with him. But I do like his over the top acting in a lot of his movies.
He seems
His
so much
character.
fun. I'd be hard holding
Oh,
him straight face because
I
he
yeah.
just seems to be having a blast.
I love Joe. I would love to like work with him, and I love his love for because he does some martial arts, and he's pretty good on screen. Like Chuck Norris, he's a big fan of Chuck Norris. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, yeah, Joel's a great guy. Hopefully, I'll get to meet him again. So
Bobby, we're gonna get you in here for sure because music drives a movie. Music is a good score is can elevate a movie, take it from normal, take it from here to up here. It can be a saving grace for a movie. So, how do you prepare? How long have you been making score music for films, and what was it like to score Torch of the Flesh. What did you how did you get inspired to make that score for that film?
Yeah, so I've been doing film scores probably, I would say, since like at least 12 years ago. So I'm a guitarist, so I've always, music's been a part of my life. And I kind of get it into like producing and recording. And then eventually that kind of segued into trying film scoring. So yeah, there's a lot of things that can go into inspiration for the movie. I always like to talk to with the director and talk to Derek. He's really cool because he gives me a ton of creative freedom. And I knew with this score I wanted to kind of do a hybrid score where I definitely wanted orchestral elements, but synth too. So I didn't want to lean completely too heavy in one category or another. I would say like certain scenes in this movie, like some of the torture scenes in the basement with the two girls, I wanted everything to sound just like it's kind of dirty sounding, right? Like, because it's a pretty graphic movie. So just certain instrument selections and the way I would process effects on them were always sort of going through my mind, and like sometimes repetitive drone things just to kind of really build out this like unrelenting tension. And there's some emotional beats in there too, like when Miles' character loses his grandma. That's actually probably one of my favorite cues in the movie, because it's a break from all this intense stuff and just to kind of pour out emotion a little bit in there. But yeah, I mean, I'm really trying to take everything scene by scene. Like I know the story going into it, but I like to just play around and let the characters and all the actors help kind of guide what I'm doing too. So yeah, that's kind of my approach for Torch of the Flesh, and I felt like I was pretty happy with it, and I think Derek was pretty happy with it too. So yeah, it was definitely a fun film to score, and there's a lot of brutal scenes, right? So there's constantly replaying things, right? And you're trying to figure out like where do I want to accent certain things, or where do I want to throttle back, right? That's a big part of it too, and making creative calls where like maybe we don't need anything in this scene. So there's always a balance to that. I have to kind of think in a way like a filmmaker, even though I'm doing the composing. So.
Yeah, because the composer is just, I mean, maybe I'm off here, but to me, I always feel like a composer is almost on the same level as a director. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies that have crashed and burned because they didn't have good scores. But then I can see, I mean, I can think of one movie right off the bat that, every time someone says, well, name a movie that just, where the score just absolutely ruled, and brought that movie up. And it's always going to be It Follows for me. Holy
really?
shit, that movie. Yes. That movie's at score. Man, I was out of my skin watching that. I was like, because it was so, because next thing you see the ghost or the spirit is right there, and he hits it with a loud boom, and man, you're like a cat on a hot tin roof. It's like I love that. I love that. Because so a good score can really elevate a movie tremendously, make it into almost like an instant classic. So what kind of scores do you like to do? I mean, are you if you have your choice movies to score for, what are some of your favorites? Are you more of a suspense guy, action, adventure, horror? Like documentary type scores? I mean, what kind of music do you like creating magic for on motion pictures?
So I've done a lot of horror films, so there's always that love for that because that's one of my favorite genres. So that'll always be there. Definitely more. One of the most recent scores I did was kind of like more of a mysterious kind of thriller with some action cues. So that's something that I'm really into. I want to do like just like a full out straight action film, heavy percussions, things of that nature. So that's one thing that I really like to do. And then even working on dramas, like I worked on a short film with Derek, I Wish I Knew, where it's like completely different vibe of anything, Torch of the Flesh, but like something more emotional, heartfelt kind of drama. I do enjoy doing that too, right? Because as long as I can like try to convey what's happening on the screen, and I can do something that I know feels good to me, like, and obviously the director likes too, I'm pretty much open to it. Like, or even certain like comedic type scenes in movies. I've done some of that too. That's fun. Total different kind of approach. I would say, yeah, I'm kind of open to all of it, right? As long as I can, essentially get out what I think the film needs or that scene needs, and I like it, and then the director likes it. I'm pretty open minded when it comes to music. So, but I would say those are the couple genres that I gravitate more towards. But I've done documentary stuff. I just wrapped up a documentary, actually two documentaries. One was kind of like a country western type of vibe. A lot of fun on the guitar. And then this new one, kind of more emotional, more orchestral string based drama stuff. So, but I'm open to all of it pretty much.
Now when you do sit, I mean, did you play all the instruments yourself for Flesh? Did you, or do you have a band to come in and play with you in creating the score?
Yeah, so all of it I did myself. So basically what I'll do is if I have a scene, I'll sketch out an idea on the piano first, and I'll kind of get the main harmonic and melodic ideas. And then from there, I'll kind of go, all right, well, what's the sonic template that I want for this movie, right? Because I want to have some cohesiveness in terms of the instruments and the palette that you have. So it makes sense, right? So in that case, I had a lot of strings and then like a lot of like synth bass and synth pads. So then what I'll do is once I kind of know what I want, let's say, for strings, I'll start working that with some ideas, and then I'll record them using sample libraries. So I'll play them on a MIDI keyboard, and then, I'll have each track like string 1, string 2, percussion 1, percussion 2, and then I'll play all of it out, and then I'll edit it in MIDI through Pro Tools. And then if it's guitar work or bass guitar work, I'll plug direct in and just perform that. But that's sort of like how I approach it. I mean, having all the essentially musicians that you could hire would be ideal, but then you got to have that within the budget of the film to do that too. So, but yeah, that's the way I do it.
Thanks. I see Darren slipped out. Thank you very much, Darren. I was perfectly fine. I mentioned that beforehand. If anybody needed to go before, well, we actually hit our point right here. But I thank you for your time, and I definitely want to talk to Darren again sometime soon. And we have hit our point, Bobby. I'm definitely going to grab you and have you come up here so we can talk more composing, because I'm a big score guy myself. But we have hit our point, and thank you for letting me go over a little bit, everybody. I really do appreciate it. Real quick, I guess the last question I'll ask you guys before we get out of here is, what are the rest of your plans for 2026?
Right now we are almost wrapping up shooting.
Bobby can't hear anything.
We're almost wrapping up shooting the Clown Days of Midnight Clown Harder. So that's a full-length feature that I'm directing, producing. That we're hoping to release by the end of the summer. So that's happening right now. And then right now we are working on. I got hired to do co-direct and shoot a kids film called The Red Bee, and then doing some projects for Phil Herman. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on in 2026, and then finishing up some scripts. So,
Joe, how about you?
Well, I'm waiting for films that I've already worked on to finish post-production, including Clown Dies at Midnight 2, Clown Harder, and another one called Hug These Bones. And I had to drop out of Red Bee because of health issues, but I will be doing one scene for another Phil Herman movie in August, I think.
yeah,
So,
August 8th.
Other than that, I don't have anything else scheduled, but I had to drop out of a bunch of things with health reasons. So
Yeah.
Let's see. I think Bobby got bumped here.
Yeah, he couldn't hear anything, so maybe he.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There we
There
go.
he is.
So
all right.
one of the issues I do have with filmmakers is when you put your time in with them and you do your job and then you wait and nothing ever comes of it. Post-production never comes to an end. I I've probably been in 30 or more films that have never been released. I've never seen my footage of it. I've never gotten anything for my efforts, and that's very frustrating. So all you filmmakers out there, you know, if you're hiring somebody, or even if you're not hiring them, if you're using somebody, make sure that you complete what your production get it out there. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're creating something. It's very frustrating to work on projects and then have nothing come of it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right.
True.
All right. Said my piece.
It's true.
No.
It's true.
Nina,
hear it.
how about you? How about you? What do you got going for the rest of the year? You just same as Derek, or you have anything doing something a little different? Writing something a little different?
Yeah, no, I just kind of what we have in the pipeline. I also, we go to conventions, and I have a craft business as well, so I make like tumblers and horror themed crafts, and that takes up a lot of my time too. So we've got some shows coming up, and so I'm working in the craft room, getting all the merchandise ready. But yeah, just what we're working on, and then all our conventions for the rest of the. I think we have like a few more.
Are you guys doing Growth Fest? You guys
Oh,
doing
yeah,
Growth
that's the
Fest?
next one. We're excited.
Yeah, that's the one I'm getting ready for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, got to shout out to Tim and Tom, man. I love those two, man.
Oh,
Those guys
yeah,
are
I love
awesome.
them.
No,
Definitely my favorite.
One of our composers we met at Gross Fest, he did the score for Amityville: Descent of Darkness. He did it for free. He's like, "Hey man, I got some music. If you ever need it." And then I didn't think about it until like we started editing the movie. I'm like, "Oh my god!" I go to my editor. I said, "Mike, I got some music. I think it'd be great for." He put it in, and it worked perfect and everything. He didn't charge. He just like, go ahead and use it. And so I got that. It was great meeting someone at Gross Fest, But Gross Fest is great. Tom and Tim are great.
Growth Fest is awesome.
Yeah.
Tom and Tim
I love that
are
they're
they're
geared towards
amazing.
the indie filmmakers, and they show our movies. We the first time we vended at Gross Fest was last year, and they showed two of our movies.
Yeah.
We're just so
Wow.
grateful that that they're
That's so
supportive.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those two guys. Those guys are amazing. They've been on the show a couple of times. I'll probably have them come on right after Gross Fest in August, because they'll already start to be planning the next year's Gross Fest, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Bobby, I got you last, but I saved you for last. But what's going on with you as far as the rest of 2026 go?
Yeah, so it's a pretty busy year. So I have right now, I'm working on a short horror film, doing all the sound design and mixing for that. And that's pretty much almost complete. We're waiting for the final cut from the editor, and I can do some conforming on it, but 95% of all the sound design is done. And then I'm going to be doing the mixing. I'm wrapping up a documentary right now, like a local Chicago one. So we're pretty much there. We're just doing a final tweak of the audio. So I'm doing the composing on that. That's already done, but I'm helping out with some of the audio cleanup and the mixing. So hopefully I should have that done by the end of next week. And then after that, I'm going to be starting sound design and score for a horror film. I can't really talk too much about it right now, but it's going to be like a real fun movie. So I'm looking forward to that. That's the next big one. And then after that, there's going to be, it's kind of like I would say a drama movie. I'm going to be doing the score for that, like feature length. So pretty busy. Everything's kind of lining up timing wise pretty nicely, which helps because sometimes it can get really chaotic all at once with multiple projects. But I kind of like that. I kind of thrive on that too. So that's a part of working in post. So, but yeah, that's the latest stuff coming up for the year.
All right. I'll let you guys know what's going on tomorrow night here on the show. Tomorrow night we'll be talking with Tracy Beebe. She's the screenwriter who wrote. For The Mortuary's Assistant, which I watched today, and that is a banger of a movie. We'll be talking with her tomorrow night at 8:00. And I was gonna say, I don't know. I no longer think that anthologies are the hardest film to film. I think video games movies are the hardest ones to film. absolutely impossible to
man.
get to make everybody happy. All right. I want to thank the chat for coming in and hanging out with us, Doc and Hobbs, and
Thanks for the
and
questions.
yes, did I get that right? Yeah, D's Basement of Horror. Thank you so much. Thank you for Tony who came in here, and Sarah. But thanks so much for you guys.
Thank you.
You know, thank
Thank you,
coming in
Patrick.
here
for having
and
us.
hanging out with us.
I
I
appreciate
had
it.
an absolute blast. Yeah, more than made up for the disaster yesterday. But I was so yes, even podcasters have stuff happen to them. But I'm glad you guys were here and I had a great time, and we look forward to seeing you come back.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. If you guys want to stick around just for 1 second, I'm going to say goodnight to the chat. Thank you guys, and we will see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And again, take care of yourselves and peace. Yeah, hang on for 1 second. The dog wants to